Women in the Arts by April Allen. During the Renaissance, there was a shift in the way people looked at art. It moved away from being primarily cultured around the Christian church with displays of art, music, and drama with religious themes. Women artists were seen as having to have overcome limitations of their sex and set herself apart from other women. There are 4 sections of women artists: visual arts, musicians, composers and actresses, and writers. Women painters. Visual arts are seen as painting, embroidery, and other guilds were never accepted as major arts, as still paintings became popular for women. The most notable image would be the flower. Although beautiful, it was seen by critics as an image that demanded no genius of mental or spiritual kind, but still took pains and specific craftsmanship. As paintings became more desired, female painters steadily increased in the early modern period. However, because women were unable to receive formal training, they were never regarded as high-level artisans. Nonetheless, women painters generally painted portraits, smaller paintings, still lifes, and interior scenes. Women musicians, composers, and actresses. During the early modern period, it was believed that women used music to lure men into the dangers of love. In the 17th century, however, it was seen that singing and playing a musical instrument was an accomplishment for young ladies. It was a skill that young ladies performed in the home, and there was no acceptance for public displays of their musical training. Folk songs and poems that were written were anonymous, although the speculations were that if it was anonymous, then it was written by a woman. This was because writing poetry and composing songs was seen as a lack of modesty upon the women writers. Women who had become noted as singers and actresses were both in opera and spoken theater. These women, however, were regarded as dishonorable. Opera singers, actresses, and even ballerinas often were able to support themselves by being the mistress of an artistically inclined male patron. Women writers illustrated a predominantly female world whose setting was typically in the home. Therefore, it was a presentation of a believable female character and their lives in a seemingly objective way. Women in writing. Women's writing was divided into 2 categories, one being unpublished work, including letters, diaries, and personal collections of quotes and reflections. The second being published work, including poetry, fiction, and plays. Many published works by women were often justified as being written for private consumption, but were compelled by a higher power to publish. Another justification included that it was a duty by God and never affected or interfered with the household or marital duties. But many female writers published their work anonymously or invented a male pseudonym. Poetry was a common written work by women. Although many were anonymously published, it is speculated that the poetry with a dominant female voice was written by a woman. This is also evident in plays, as often playwrights would give more or larger parts to women and emphasize themes that were more specific to women. Women writers would often include moral advice in their poetry, drama, and fiction, as well as writing pure advice books, including cookbooks, almanacs, midwife manuals, practical medical guides, and housekeeping manuals. Although members of high society tried to contain women in the home, the art they produced in the home is what spread from a private consumption to a public consumption. The Renaissance provided the shift women needed to be seen in the arts. Even though women were criticized heavily for their production of art, many women still pursued it and have helped shape the way modern thinkers look at art and help to determine their skill. Cited work. The end.